What is up, everybody? Today, Brandon and I have a very, very special presentation for you guys. So, without further ado, welcome to another episode of Fantasy Time. All right, happy Thursday to everybody out there. Happy Thursday. I know what you guys are thinking, right? 3 videos in 1 week? Are we special? Well, yes, you are special. So we are fired up. We're dropping the fire this week. Our little special presentation I think you guys are going to enjoy. But first, I got to check in. With one of my best friends, my partners, Brandon Sullivan. How you doing this week?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Coming off the 49ers victory, that was awesome to be able to see just because we had a few losses there in a row there, and I was trying to figure out when that was going to end, so the bleeding stopped a little bit, so that's good. Hopeful, that maybe this will turn things around a little bit, but yeah, a good week for me. How you been doing?
I am good despite what transpired on Sunday. Other than that, outside of football, doing solid. Shout out to the Braves for beating the cheaters, the Asterisks, right, last night. Let's go, baby. Freddie Freeman, baby. Freddie. Let's go, baby. All right, let's get into this. We got a special presentation for you guys, our mid-season grades. Yes, we are going to break down our grades for every team that we got. And of course, I made a Google Sheets for it. Just kidding. I added a tab in our Meet on the 50 weekly Google Sheets. So you can just click on the tab to see all of our grades, all the information that we are dropping in this video. Also, we are going to be talking about who had the best first half, the most disappointing first half, who's going to have the best second half, and then who we are most interested in seeing in the second half of the season. Let's get into it. So we're going to start with the AFC. Easiest way to do this is alphabetically. So we are going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. What grade you got for me?
Baltimore Ravens, I think that they've been off to a pretty good start so far this year. I'm going to give them a B+. I think that there's some things that they can work on, but overall they've been a pretty solid team this year.
Great minds think alike, because I'm also giving them a B+. The Ravens have had times, this season shown flashes of greatness. Lamar seems to be turning that corner and actually turning himself into a pocket passer, which is very interesting to see. And with no running game, Lamar is getting it done. I think they've somewhat exceeded expectations. I think they were, expected to be in the top of the AFC North. They are on the top of the AFC North. So I'm giving them a B+. Solid start. Solid, I guess, first half of the season for the Baltimore Ravens. Moving on to Buffalo. We got the Buffalo Bills. What do you got for me?
Buffalo Bills, similar, very similar grade, but I am going to give them an A-, just because, I think they're a little bit better than the Ravens, and they've kind of proved themselves against, some pretty good teams. So I am going to give them an A- here.
If anybody questions our friendship, just show them this episode. I'm going Buffalo Bills A-, baby. After that little hiccup in week 1 and dropping the game to the Titans, I can't give my Super Bowl prediction a solid A. I can't do it. So, however, if I were a Buffalo fan, I would be feeling great. I would be feeling really good, and I'd be feeling that this is our year. If any year is going to be it for the Buffalo Bills, this might do it. So I think Josh Allen and the Bills handle business mostly for the rest of the year. They've handled it mostly this year, so they are looking good. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I would give them a B+ like the Ravens, but just the loss over the weekend, it kind of changed that for me. So at this point, I'm going to give them a B-.
Okay.
I'm still going to give them the B range, but I think that they have some work to do. And so they're a great team. I think they're a great football team, and that's why, they're above average for sure. I'm going to give them a B-.
So even after they were the Bungles last week against the frickin' Jets, I think the Bengals have exceeded everybody's expectations. If you would have said that the Bengals are going to be 5-3 this season with having the lead in the AFC last week and the number 1 seed in the AFC North, people would have thought you are a psychopath. Get the hell away from me, right? Check this guy into a mental institution. But no, they're in the mix with all 4 teams. I'm not counting the Browns out yet. That division is still wide open. But the fact that Joey B and Jamar look amazing. Jamar, number 3 receiver in the NFL in terms of yards right now. I'm going to give him a B+, just because they've exceeded more than one expectation this season, and they're looking good. Now, the key is can they keep it going the second half of the season? So they're right in the mix to win that division, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close with all these teams surging, right? Steelers are surging. Browns still have a chance. Ravens are tough. So we shall see. Moving on to the other team in the AFC North, and that is the Cleveland Browns. What do you got for me?
Yeah, the Browns, I feel like they've struggled at times, but then they've showed flashes at times. So that leads me to put them with a C+. I think that you're in the C range, and I'll give you the C+ just because, you've had a couple of good victories there. So, I just think that they have some work to do as well.
Yeah, again and again, I say it. It's Cleveland Browns, C+, baby, with that stagnant offense and them looking like a shell of a team that they were last year. This OBJ drama that they got going on right now. Injuries to the staples of their team, which is their running game. Yeah, I'm going C+. I think they are falling well short of expectations right now, as of now, but that can change. I still have faith in Baker Mayfield. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But right now, Browns, C+, not really doing anything moving the needle, as they say. Not really doing anything to move the needle. Our next team up is the Denver Broncos. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Denver, they were off to a great start this year, and then they kind of struggled. That they were able to get a win last week, so good for them. But I am going to put them in the same category as the Browns. I'm going to give them a C- here. Kind of in the same range. I mean, they're a C team, that's for sure. I mean, they're not as good as the Browns, that's for sure, but very similar, I feel like, starts for these two teams. Yeah. So I think that they have a lot of improvement as well that they need. I think that, losing Von Miller is going to hurt them.
Yes.
So we'll have to see if they can improve off that C-, but I don't see that helping them in any way. So.
Yet again, I got Denver Broncos, C-, right? Not much to say about this team. Now with Von Miller gone, just like you said, this team is very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. Yeah. Starting off the season 3-0 and then dropping the next 4. They won last week. Whoop-de-doo for them. It was an ugly game. It wasn't a pretty game last week. I think Broncos are destined for mediocrity, and I can see a quarterback either free agency or in the draft in their near future, because that's what they need most. Our next team up, and boy, am I curious on what grade you're going to give this team. We got the Houston Dumpster Fire Texans. What do you got for me?
F. That was the easiest one yet. F. And the question I have for everybody in Houston is, how did you like that last night? Number 1. Number 2, where is Deshaun Watson? Where is he? So, unfortunately, karma is a biatch because, your teams are just not just one team, just like it's bad. It's bad in Houston. Yeah. So we're just going to leave it at that. We're just going to give them an F.
Yeah, I'm going Houston Texans F for sure. This is another quick and easy one. Right now, there's nothing to like about this team. If Deshaun was there, maybe there's 2 things, because I do like David Culley. I actually think he's a decent coach. I just think he's dealt an extremely crappy team. I think that team is horrible. And hopefully, they can get whatever's going on with Deshaun, whether it's, let's get the ball rolling. Let's either charge him with something. Let's settle these cases. Let's get your ass back on the field. I mean, it's crazy how long this is taking. And if the NFL is really investigating into what's going on, and we all know the NFL investigates, that's right, because they're withholding all the Washington information, this could be going on for another season. So hopefully this gets worked out. We'll see what ends up happening. Whether he's convicted, not convicted, whatever. Let's just get a resolution to the situation so that the franchise can move on. Because right now, honestly, they're waiting. I don't know what they're waiting for. They're waiting for it to either be settled or not settled. Him being charged or not being charged, so he can come back to be court. Just you need a clean slate. Just get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get draft capital. Restart. Reset the motor, reset the brakes, reset everything on the car, and then drive it out the lot, okay? This whole thing of worrying about what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson is silly. Just trade him. He had a good time in Houston. He took you guys to the playoffs, some success. Call it is what it is. Right now, he is holding back this franchise like no other, and he doesn't want to be holding back this franchise.
It's like the ex-girlfriend analogy, right? Like, she doesn't want you anymore. Just let it go. Yeah. Just let it go.
Yeah, he's already requested a trade. You know, he doesn't want to be at the team anymore. You're hurting your team more than you're helping your team. Davis Mills cannot feel confident without thinking that he actually has a chance to start for the team. Tyrod Taylor can't feel confident if he thinks that, Deshaun settled his case. Well, it looks like I'm a backup now. No quarterback 100%. Can be confident with this dumb thing that they have airing over the team. Cut ties, get rid of them, start over. I promise you it'll be for the better. The next team up, we got the Indianapolis Colts. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Indianapolis has shown some flashes. You know, they've had a couple of really good games. I mean, it was close with the Titans. It was close with the Ravens. You know, they should have probably beat the Ravens. I think it was an impressive win against the 49ers on the road in the rain. Yep. I mean, anytime you're having to play in those type of elements and you're playing well, give that team some credit, even though the 49ers have struggled. But with the Colts, I'm just going to give them a flat-out C. I think that they could very well be 5-3 if a couple of the games went their way. So I'm going to give them, I think that they're kind of in the middle of the race here. And, I expect to see a little bit of improvement in the second half of the season for them.
Yeah, the Colts are a weird team. The Colts are a very weird team. I'm going to go B+, because they started off the season a little rough. They look to get back on track the second half of the season. They had a good game, like you said, last week against the Titans. But I encourage people to look up what Teddy Bruschi said about Carson Wentz on Sunday Morning Countdown, because he's 100%. He's 100% correct, because Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. But Carson Wentz at the same time is one of the most reckless quarterbacks you have ever seen. He does things that make you go, wow, this guy is incredible. And he does things like, dude, what the hell are you doing? For example, being backed up in your own end zone, not taking a safety where you could have just had the ball, taken it down, kicked a field goal, and won the game, because you only would have been down by 2, Carson. No, what do? You take the ball from your right hand, put it in your left hand, throw this freaking dove, this little dead duck up in the air, and what happens? Pick six, now you're down 7.
Yeah.
He just does things that make you go, what the hell are you doing, dude? What are you doing? So, I can't count him out yet. We do have a second half of the season, and teams have turned it around. Second half of the season, we've seen it time in and time out. So, the Colts will be a very, very interesting team to watch in the second half. Foreshadowing? Maybe. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you got for me here?
I got another F. I expected a little bit more. Just adding Trevor Lawrence and a new coaching staff. I thought that maybe they and even expecting a little bit more. Maybe they'd be in the D range. But just only able to get one victory on the road. Just not very impressive. I guess the London game, that was cool, but they've just been struggling, and they're just a team that you just don't have any confidence in. So when I say I don't have any confidence in a team and I don't think they can win, there's no better grade than I can give than an F. But the good news is for Jaguar fans is it's only up from here. So
Yeah, I'm not going to be as harsh. I'm going to give him a D-, but definitely, after what you would definitely call a rookie season for the number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence, there's not much to like about this team right now. There is not much to like about this team. Now, like Kyler, I expect Trevor to get better year in and year out, right? That's what we saw with Kyler, number 1 pick. Hopefully that's what we see with Trevor, right? That's what a number 1 pick is supposed to do. They're supposed to get better year after year. So I think he can do it. He has the skill to do it. He has the know-how to do it. But right now, the lack of help on the offensive line, the lack of cohesion between players and coaches right now, it's hurting him. It's hurting him. A lot needs to happen for this franchise to get back on track. I think it can happen, but they need a lot. They need a lot. Moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm interested. What do you got for me here?
Yeah, Kansas City, man, this has been a really weird ride with the Chiefs this season, they've come out kind of flat, to be honest. And I see a lot of mistakes being made, and I don't see, and the defense isn't really stepping up, but then, the quarterbacking play has been questionable as well. Yeah. So with the Chiefs this year, I'm going to give them a C+. I think that they've done enough to keep themselves in the playoff hunt at 4-4. But, struggling against the Giants and, struggling against, and losing to teams like, I think the Chargers, that was a game that I thought, they should have. And then I think, I can't even remember if I picked the Chargers on that one, but I thought that the game was so close, it was down to the wire, that I thought the Chiefs were going to be able to win that game. And we see, the reason why I'm giving them this grade is because when they usually are the ones winning these close games. And now we're starting to see them kind of take a step back and lose these games. And, when they got blown out by the Bills and then they got blown out by the Titans, that was the one where it was like, that's not really what we typically see out of the Chiefs and the Mahomes and Andy Reid era. So I'm going to give them a C+. I think that there's much room for improvement, but yeah.
I'm going B-, but Super Bowl hangover is very real, and the Chiefs are suffering from it big time right now. After almost dropping a game to the New York Giants, I think it's safe to say that the NFL and the DBs have figured out the Kansas City Chiefs and the Patrick Mahomes. Because, what we've seen over the last 3 years is we've seen Pat throw these balls that obviously should be picked. They should be picked. They don't get picked for whatever reason, drop to the ground, people running into each other, blah, blah, blah. Excuse. Now, what are we seeing? These balls are actually being picked, right? They're being tipped up in the air, and people are converting on these picks. So now it makes it seem like Pat is not so superhuman, when in reality, these balls should have been picked 3 years ago. Just DBs and the NFL has never seen anything like this quarterback, which is Patrick Mahomes. So now that I think the NFL and DBs have finally caught up to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, it is now on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to get ahead of the NFL again. So we shall see. This is going to be a very interesting test for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes wants to be as great as he thinks he can, and I'm pretty sure knows he can be, this is going to be a very, very interesting little comeback here, because they may have a bad season this year, but it's all about what are they going to do next season, right? If they're going to respond, or if they're just going to continue to be mediocre. You can pay anyone any amount of money, right? I.e. Pat, 10 years, $500 million. That money sure weighs heavy when you start to lose. That money sure weighs a lot more when you're losing. So to the Chiefs, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Our next team up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I think the Raiders, they started out really well, and then they had a couple losses there that, maybe they should have won. But I thought they've had overall a good year, so I'm going to give them a B+. I think, John Gruden leaving the team was definitely a good thing for them. I think that his play calling was questionable.
Yeah.
and just kind of, maybe there was some animosity in the locker room that we're unaware of. But yeah, I just think that they just look a lot better, now that he's gone. So yeah, they're looking good. So I'm gonna give them a B+.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going B+ for the Las Vegas Raiders. The one franchise that seems to never be able to catch a break, being slapped in the mouth yesterday or 2 days ago, or yesterday, I guess it was, with this Henry Ruggs situation. If you haven't seen it or heard it, I guess you've lived under a rock. But the only thing I'm gonna say is this: at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it does not matter how much money you make. It does not matter, because I can tell you what the amount that he is going to pay, the amount that we're going to see him pay, is nowhere near the cost of an Uber, a Lyft, a taxi, or a limo. Nowhere near. So, did he make a stupid mistake? Yes. Is he going to pay for it probably for the rest of his life? Yes. But again, it doesn't matter how much freaking money you make. Don't drink and drive. Never do it. Don't do it. So, the Raiders will look to move on from this as well. So, I mean, if they make the playoffs, this is going to be one of the most mentally tough teams I've ever seen in my life. And B, Derek Carr will have earned my respect for the rest of my life. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't understand. I don't understand what's wrong with this team. Just when you think they've broken through, they get kicked. They get a punch right to the nuts. They get socked right between the legs, right? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back from this speed bump, right? Deshaun Jackson is available. That would be cool. It's not young Deshaun, but he is a Bay Area kid. It'd be cool to see him play for his hometown team. OBJ looks like he's going to be available. If the Raiders don't get Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Mayock, and Mark Davis, something is wrong with the leadership if they don't get OBJ. So, the Raiders will look to rebound, but right now, facing everything that they've faced, solid B+ grade for the Las Vegas Raiders. They have turned a season that looked like it was going south back to north. Now the compass is all over the place again, so we shall see. It's like 4 seasons in one for this Las Vegas Raiders team. Our next team up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers, another team in the division. What do you got for me?
The Chargers are, I think they're kind of right behind the Raiders in the race. I think that they've had a pretty overall decent season. I think that there's been a couple times that they probably, have struggled and probably should have won those games. I'm thinking that they should have beat New England over the weekend, but, it happens. So I'm just going to give them a flat-out B. I think that they've done enough to where they keep themselves in the divisional race, and I think that they are a playoff team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I got Chargers as a B. After starting the season strong, right, and looking, like they had the new face of the NFL, Justin Herbert and the Chargers are struggling, right? Going into the bye, being demolished by the Ravens, coming out of the bye, losing a tough game to the New England Patriots. Not good. Dropping those last 2 games, they need to re-energize themselves, come out for the second half of the season strong like they did the beginning of the season. They can do it. They showed that they can do it. Honestly, to me, what I've noticed is the offenses look extremely stagnant in the last 2 games. I don't know what happened between, the Ravens game and the rest of the games, but, they're not utilizing Mike Williams. Donald Parham has not caught a touchdown. Jared Cook is not being utilized. It basically seems like they're only going to Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen. That's not going to win you a game. It's going to get you a lot of fantasy points, but it's not going to win you a game. So I'm going Chargers B. They have to rebound Sunday, and I think that'll propel them to a good second half of the season. Our next team up, we got the Miami Dolphins. What do you got for me?
Yeah, strangely enough, I'm not going to give them an F, even though they're sitting at 1-7, which is really bad. I'm going to give them a D-. I think that there's been some games that have been pretty close for them, and I think that they've despite their loss against Buffalo last week, they kept it close with the Jaguars. They kept it close with the Falcons. And they kept it close with the Raiders. And so there's some games where, it could have gone either way. And so I will give them a D- and say that they have much improvement to do, but I don't think they're failing as a team.
I don't know what to think about this team, and I am giving them an F. Just because they were set to compete with the Bills at the beginning of the season, and they have just fallen flat on their face, just flatter than flat on their face this year. They do have some bright spots. Tua, since coming back from injury, has been balling. I don't know if anybody saw the interview today, but management is behind him. They like him as a QB. They like his development, and I agree. I don't like Alabama quarterbacks. I never have. I probably never will. But Tua has definitely developed in the last 2 years. From his rookie year to this year, he definitely has developed. So that's good to see. Mike Gesicki, if you don't know who this guy is, you need to look this guy up, because this man, especially in fantasy terms, is a perennial powerhouse at the tight end position, and he will be a household name within the next couple years or so if Tua keeps on the trajectory that he is. And then his connection with Jalen Waddle, right? It seems to have transferred over from college. We may very well see teams try and target quarterbacks and receivers from the same schools, right? We see it working with Joey and Jamar. We see it working with Tua and Jalen, right? These chemistries and these connections are hard to find. They're hard to find, and when you have one already built or the foundation already laid, much more enticing than having to try to organically build that yourself. So I think the connection with him and Jalen, very strong. They need to step it up. They need to step it up to salvage this season. It's not looking good. I'm not saying that they're going to be a playoff team, but at least get to 500. At least get to 2 games under 500, 1 game under 500. Don't go into the draft as a top 5 pick when you were expected to be a top 10 team. Not good. Not good. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. What do you got for me?
New England Patriots definitely have exceeded expectations this year, I think, with a rookie quarterback and off to the struggles that they had last year. So New England, I'm going to go ahead and give them a B-. I think that they've had a pretty solid season so far. I think that they probably should have beaten a couple of these teams. I think that Dallas is one that they should have won. Yeah. And I also think that they could have beaten the Buccaneers. So they could very easily be at 6-2 right now. So I'm going to give them a B-.
I like it. I'm going to go with a B, just because they're the team who surprised me the most this year. I have to give Mac and the Pats some props. Mac Jones definitely looks like the best rookie QB this season so far. We haven't got to see Trey very much, right? He's shown flashes of greatness. Justin Fields looks like he's getting the ball rolling, but the one who looks consistently decent or good week over week is Mac Jones. So good for him. Good for the Pats in finding a quarterback that they trust and able to develop him slowly but surely into being, somewhat of a viable quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's a viable quarterback right now for that team. Now it's about surrounding him with the right pieces. Who are the right pieces? They got to find them. So solid first half for the Pats. Everyone thought the Pats were done, right? I thought the Pats were done. I thought it was the Bills and the Dolphins time again. I guess no matter what, I can't get rid of a freaking Boston team. So now we got the New England Patriots again competing for the freaking playoff spot. So we'll see. We shall see what happens. But New England Patriots 4-4 right now. I'm gonna give them a B just because Mac has surprised me so far. Next up, we got the New York Jets. What do you got for me?
Yeah, the New York Jets, disappointing season for them as well. But it seems as though maybe the tides have turned a little bit with their big victory on Sunday, just because it doesn't matter. I'm not taking anything away from the Bengals. I still think that they're an exceptional team. I'm just since I'm not taking anything away from them, I got to give credit to the Jets because they did have to go and win that game. And it's funny because the Jets, the two victories that they've had are pretty against pretty decent teams. They beat Tennessee and they beat Cincinnati. So those are two teams that are actually really good. And so I'm going to give them a D+.
I like it. I'm going to go with a straight D because there's not much you can say about this team. not much you can say. The first half of the season was pretty abysmal. They had some bright spots. They had a big win over the Bengals last week, which we'll see if it gives them some momentum going into this week against the Colts. We'll see. We shall see, I guess. That's the best thing I can say about the New York Jets. Mike White, I don't know who this dude is. Who the hell is Mike White, dude? We'll see about the New York Jets. I'm giving them a D. Nothing I can really say about them other than they've looked pretty mediocre with two big wins under their belt. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you got for me?
Yeah, the Steelers, they've kind of been flying under the radar a little bit. They're 4-3. It's like it kind of feels like they're a 2-5 team to me, but it's weird. I'm just gonna give them a C+. I think that they've played well enough to compete, to kind of just stay in the playoff picture, and they've done just enough to they did just enough last week to beat the Browns, and which I for some reason thought they were going to, I just think that I'm gonna give them a C+ just based on their D. I think they have a really good defense.
Yeah, their defense is definitely strong. I'm going with a solid C. Rough start to the year. They've managed to what was looking like going to be a lost season. Big Ben having an ugly exit. Mike Tomlin possibly being fired. They seem to have turned that around. Pittsburgh known to be a playoff lingerer every single year. Unless there's an E next to their name, they're going to be in the playoff hunt. So I think, they've had a solid C to C+ performance in the first half. I will say, though, watch for them in the second half. Because, again, they are playoff lingerers, and they love nothing more than to linger around the 8th, 9th seed, 10th seed, and always try and get in at the last second. It's just what they do. Our next team up and our last team in the AFC, we got the Tennessee Titans. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Tennessee has had a really impressive season. I thought that they played extremely well. I'm going to give them an A-. I just think, they've had a couple of losses there that, definitely could have gone, their way.
Yeah.
I think that they probably should have beat the Jets. Yes. I'm going to say they should have beat the Jets. Obviously, that's the one game I say that should have gone their way, so they should be 7-1.
Yeah.
The Cardinals beat them handily at the beginning of the year. So, I think that they've had a really good season, and I think that it was really impressive the way that they beat the Chiefs 27-3, and then them beating Buffalo.
Yeah.
That was also really impressive to me.
Yep.
So, to me, definite A- team.
I like it. I'm going to give them a B+. After a hard-fought win over the Colts, they took a huge blow. Huge blow on Sunday, with losing the NFL leading rusher, Derrick Henry. Going to be gone for 6 to 10 weeks. All those records, gone. So we will see how they come back. We shall see. You must have a running game. You got to have a running game in order to succeed in the NFL. So we shall see. Running opens up the play action. It opens up the passing game. It opens up a lot of things that people don't quite seem to understand. So we shall see. They just signed Adrian Peterson. If he has anything left in the tank, I hope he does, because that would be amazing to see. I hope he can spark the Titans team and give them the boost that they need at the running back position for the time that Derrick Henry's gone. And then, can I just say, what an absolute treat for Derrick Henry to have one of the greatest NFL rushers on your freaking team. If I were him, I would drain this dude of everything he knew about football while he's there. He's only going to be there for what are we in, week 9? He's only going to be there for 8 more weeks. They ain't re-signing him after the season, Derek. So, my friend, you are one lucky guy. Use that to your ability and drain Adrian of every single thing he knows about the running back position. Because that is a nice little bright spot in a dark situation for him. So good for them.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see Adrian Peterson. Who wouldn't be excited to see Adrian Peterson? So I'm excited to see Adrian Peterson on the Titans. That's a little treat right there for myself. Next up, we're moving on to the NFC. That was the AFC. Moving on to the NFC. Starting us off with the Arizona Cardinals. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give them an A. I think that they've had a really, really good year, and just really turning things around. If you told me that they were going to be 7-0, 7-1, I probably would say that that there's a chance at that, but I'm looking more at like 4-3. So, I definitely think they've had an impressive year, and I can't give them anything less than an A.
Yeah, I'm giving them an A. Even after they suffer in their first loss on Thursday, the team is very much in contention to make some noise still, and even make some noise in the playoffs. One loss to the Packers is not going to change that. Now, what may change that is the health of this team. You've already lost JJ. DeAndre's dealing with this weird hamstring thing. Kyler's now on the injury report with an ankle injury. Christian Kirk has been injured throughout this season. Health has always been the issue for the Cardinals, right? They have a good season, and then they just can't stay healthy. Health is going to be the biggest question mark for this team. If they can stay healthy, I don't see any reason why they can't continue to do what they do. If Kyler has to sit out some weeks, if DeAndre has to sit out some weeks, if more of the defense goes down, not looking good. Not looking good, right? You got to stay healthy in order to finish off your season. So, they can keep a great season up. Just got to stay healthy. Our next team up, we got the Atlanta Falcons. What do you got for me?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one with the Atlanta Falcons. I'm just gonna give them a C. I just think that they're just kind of wishy-washy. They're just a really inconsistent team. That's kind of all I have to say about them. I mean, I think we've seen flashes of greatness between Kyle Pitts and Matt Ryan, and flashes of that defense, but it just feels like it's always this way with the Falcons, where once you start to kind of believe, then they let you down. So I'm just going to stay with the C.
Yeah, I'm not going to be as nice as you. I'm going to D because this team is weird as I don't even know what this team is. I don't even know who they are, right? They have all the tools to be successful, yet they lose to the freaking Panthers, who, what are you doing? What is going on over there? I don't understand. I legit do not understand. They look to get back on track. We'll see how they do the second half of the season. But I have no faith in the Atlanta Falcons after they completely botched that game last week against the Panthers. No faith. Speaking of the Panthers, our next team up, we got the Carolina Panthers. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give them a C as well. I think that they've played okay. I mean, it's another inconsistent team for me, though. It's kind of the same story.
Yeah, I'm gonna go C minus. After starting off the year 3-0, they were derailed. They were derailed by injuries. I mean, that's pretty much what happened to them. Their whole defense basically went on IR, and then losing CMC, Christian McCaffrey, that's gonna hurt you. Now that he's back, we'll see. I mean, hamstring injuries don't just go away overnight. It's not like he re-aggravates it. He takes some time off. Oh my goodness, the hamstring is magically hit. No. The hamstring is still injured. So, we'll see what happens. It's again, like I said in my Tuesday video, it's either going to go one of two ways. He's either going to score a lot of points on Sunday, or he's going to re-aggravate that injury and go back on IR. So, they're a big question mark right now around this team, especially after beating the Atlanta Falcons. Still can't get over it. Freaking joke. But a big question mark around this team. Huge question mark. We'll see. We'll see what the second half has in store for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, I'll say this. It's an interesting saga to watch. From a team starting to 3-0 to now be 4-4. So, very interesting. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Chicago's another team that they've got a lot of work to do. I think that they've got a pretty solid defense. I think that they, at times, show that they have a stout defense, and then, they're very inconsistent as well. That's like 3 really inconsistent teams in a row that you've named off. It's like the same take on each one, where it's like these teams don't really have like an identity.
Yep.
I think that Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I think that he showed on Sunday that he's able to do things outside of the pocket that a lot of quarterbacks can't. I mean, that was a really impressive, I think it was like a 25-yard run that he got out of. He eluded like a couple of sacks and then was able to kind of reverse it around the other side of so that kind of thing. Like, obviously I was pissed off about it, but I was like, I can't hate on the man. Like, this is the quarterback I wanted. So he's impressive. And so I think that they'll get better as he gets better. But until, I think he just needs that experience. So I'm going to give them a C-.
I like it. I'm going to go solid D because the biggest problem for this team, to me, is not the players. That's not the biggest problem. It's a problem, but it's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem that this team has is their coach, Matt Nagy. Dude needs to go. The homeboy needs to become a defensive coordinator on some team. He's not a head coach. Never has, never will be. That missed field goal by Pinheiro solidified his coaching career. That's the best it's ever going to get. That close to being successful. That's it. You need to go, bro. Because guess what happens? Let me just ask a question to the audience here. What happened on Sunday? Oh, Justin Fields actually was able to move the ball down the field. Oh, what happened? He was actually able to score. Oh, but we look over to the sideline. Who's not there? Matt Nagy. Exactly. The problem. Get him off the team so Justin can blossom into the quarterback that we all know he's going to. Mitchell Trubisky wasn't the problem. I know people hate on Mitchell Trubisky, right? And yes, I said Trubisky, okay? Yeah, because he was shit. But at the same time, he wasn't that bad. He had that one good season. Matt Nagy is the problem. Matt Nagy is the problem. Matt Nagy is the problem, okay? Moving on to a team that is very different from these last three teams. We got the Dallas Cowboys. What do you got for me on Dallas?
Yeah, I'm going to give Dallas an A as well. I think that they've had a really good season, and the fact that they were able to win, against Minnesota on the road, despite not having their starting quarterback, that's impressive. So I definitely have to give them an A. I think this is one of the best Dallas Cowboys teams I've seen in the last 2 decades. I've seen some pretty good teams led by Tony Romo, but not nearly as good as this team. So, got to give them credit. I'm gonna give them an A.
Yeah, one of the most complete teams, in Cowboys team history. Yeah, it's only they get an A. It's only fitting to give them an A. This is the best chance the Cowboys I think will ever have to make some well, not ever, but like you said, within the past 2 decades, since Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman, to actually make some noise in the NFC. They were America's team at one point. I guess I know why, because, TV wasn't that broadly distributed. But, they very well may become America's team again. Not my team, for God's sakes. But they may become the America's team again. This team, they're exciting to watch. It's nice to see a complete team. I'll just say that. Whether who it is, unless it's the Patriots or the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's nice to see a complete team on the field. So, the NFC East, traditional NFC East, absolute dog shit. I don't understand. How can a division year over year over year over year be horrible? How is that possible? I don't understand. Like, these franchises just settle for mediocrity. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Barring a catastrophic injury to Dak, the Cowboys look like the dark horse or the Dak horse for the NFC Championship game because they look tough. They haven't played many tough teams. They do have some tough tests on their schedule, but they look tough. They definitely look tough. Our next team up, and boy, did the NFC have a lot of stinkers this year. Our next team up, we got the Detroit Lions. What do you got for me?
F. They're the worst team in the league. So I'm going to give them a flat out F. They have to be the worst team in the league. Just after what I saw on Sunday, something needs to change. And Jared Goff shouldn't be in the NFL.
Yeah.
If he is, he's going to be like a third string, like CJ Beathard type quarterback, where it's like, that's your last option. Then I guess he can come in at the end of the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. F minus. There's not much to say about this team. I'm just gonna read what I wrote in my notes because that's how quick this is gonna be. Not much to say. Not much good you can say about this team. Hopefully in the offseason they can retool the pieces that they need to fix, because right now this team is bad. Okay, moving on to a team that is more worth talking about. We got the Green Bay Packers. What do you got for me?
I'm going to give them an A as well. It seems as though since they got kind of punched in the mouth in that first game against New Orleans, they have been resilient and have won every single game since, And for them to go into Arizona and win on Thursday night, that was very impressive because they were down. Their wide receiver core was kind of depleted. I'm going to say that was pretty impressive. So I'm going to give them an A, and I have high expectations for this team moving forward in the season.
Yeah, I'm going A as well. I love Aaron. On the field, he's my favorite quarterback of all time. Off the field, might be one of the most arrogant human beings I've ever seen in my freaking life. Okay? After a slip-up in week 1, the Packers look like we all expected them, right? To be dominant. However, this fool wants to make a dumbass decision. He could cost his team a win this week. You could very well cost your team a win this week. And was it worth it? Honestly, was it worth it, Aaron? No, it wasn't. I'll answer the question for you, because I know your arrogant ass won't admit it. The nice thing that we're going to see is we're going to see what life is going to be like without Aaron, because Jordan Love is going to be the future starter of this team. That's a guaranteed. Like, you can put all the money in the world on it. He's going to be the starter for this team. So we're going to see what that offense looks like without Aaron there. Something to look forward to. You get to kind of see what he's bringing to the table. Has he been developing? Because it's kind of like the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation, right? Aaron Rodgers could have been as good as he was. He could have been this Tom Brady, right? He could have been this version of Tom Brady. He's not going to replace Brett until Brett's ready to leave the Packers, right? It's the same thing. Jordan Love could be incredible. He could be absolutely amazing. He's not going to replace Aaron Rodgers until Aaron Rodgers is ready to leave the Packers. So I'm kind of excited to see. I'm excited to see what Jordan Love brings. And then when Aaron comes back next week, I expect them to continue the dominance throughout the entire season because they, for the first time, look like a decent team. They have a good they've always had a great offense. They have a decent defense, finally. Good special teams with Mason Crosby's hiccup in the Bengals game. Other than that, he's been solid. So the Packers are continuing to be one of those tough teams. Another tough team is these guys right here, and that is the Los Angeles Rams. What do you got for me?
Yeah, the Rams are another really good team, and I'm going to give them an A as well. I think that they've played exceptionally well throughout the season. Got to give them credit. And then with adding, I don't know how they're able to add all these players. It just seems like they just keep getting players and keep getting players. And got to give that front office credit. I expect a lot from them moving forward as well. They've had a just as good of a season. To be able to beat the Buccaneers. It's on and on. They've had some really good games so far. I think the second half of the season is going to be kind of a test because they have a bunch of divisional games. And divisional games are tough no matter who you play in the NFC West. I've seen the Niners beat the Seahawks. I've seen when the Niners were horrible. I've seen the Niners have the worst season ever, but their 2 victories were against the Rams. And then I've seen vice versa, where the Rams find a way to beat us or tie us, or the Cardinals find a way, even though they're not that good, to go into Seattle and win. So it's having all those divisional opponents stacked up in the second half. I'm interested to see what happens there, but got to give them an A. I think they've had an excellent season so far.
Yeah, I'm going to go A as well. I've always known and felt that Matthew Stafford was an elite quarterback, not a good quarterback, an elite quarterback. But he's just never truly got the chance to show it. But he had Megatron. One great player does not replace a great team. Big difference. Big difference when you can throw the ball to any one of your receivers and trust that they're going to make the play. Very, very big difference. We can say it. He wasted his career in Detroit. Wasted it. Absolutely wasted it. I can't blame him, because if it were me, I would probably do the same thing, because if I had a chance to turn a lifelong losing franchise into a championship and have a city love me for the rest of my life, I would definitely take that option. But unfortunately for Matt, it didn't work out. Horrible front office, horrible coaching, horrible management. And it's nice to see. It's nice to see someone in the twilight of their career get what they've been wanting their entire career. You know, it'd be one thing. It's like Pat, right? Pat has all these weapons coming into his career. Cool, good for you, bro. Awesome. You got something that quarterbacks chase their entire career and never get. It's nice to see somebody actually have people he can throw to, right? He's turned Cooper Kupp into the best receiver in the NFL, which I knew was going to happen. You know, he just can't be stopped, right? Sean McVay has his quarterback. Matthew Stafford has his coach. The New York Yankees of football are looking to steamroll the second half. We shall see what happens with the Rams, but this could be a dominant few years for the Rams that we're looking at. This could be. Yep. Our next team up, we got the Minnesota Vikings. What do you got for me?
I always like how you say that because I had a couple of coworkers at my last job that were big Minnesota Vikings fans because they were from Minnesota. Literally same accent, like you spot on, and you got that down. But yeah, the Vikings are, like we always say every single week, they are better than their record.
Yep.
Every single game, it seems like they're in it. It just comes down to the very end. I mean, against Dallas, they had a chance to win that one.
Yeah.
You know, against the Browns, they had a chance to win that one. You know, against the Cardinals, they maybe should have won that one. You know. And then against the Bengals, went to overtime. Yep. They had a chance to win that one. Yep. Not taking anything away from these teams, but they've been in every single game that they have lost. They have not lost by more than a possession, I believe. So I'm going to give them, you know, even with a 3-4 record, I'm going to give them a B-. I think that they've had a pretty solid season, and I expect them to kind of step it up in the second half.
I'm right there with you. I'm going B-, you know, and what I'm sure was a disappointing first half for the Vikings, I believe that they can still salvage the second half and, you know, kind of make a run at the playoffs. It's not out of the realm of possibility, right? They're not a bad team. It'd be one thing if they were a bad team. These guys are not just bad. They've just had horrible luck, horrible misfortune. You know, we've said it. I've said it. This team very well could easily be 5-2. Very well be 5-2. Second place in the division. You know, well, I think they are second place in the division because of how crappy everyone else is. But still, they would have a winning record. They would be somewhat feared in the NFL. Right now, you know, Minnesota Vikings ain't striking fear. They're winning games based on the talent that they have alone, right? They don't have that mental edge that some of these teams have going into games. So, second half, we'll see. We'll see if the fortune can change. It has. Fortunes have changed for teams before. So we'll see if the Vikings can get on the right side of the fortune and turn around the season to somewhat make it a good season. Because, again, they're not a bad team. They're really not a bad team. The next team up is, and this team is not a bad team either. The next team up, we got the New Orleans Saints. What do you got for me?
Yeah, New Orleans, I'm still surprised that they're 5-2. I mean, they just don't seem like a 5-2 team to me. I don't know. It's kind of weird with them, you know. They've, you know, big victory though against the divisional opponent Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a big win for them. At the same time, a big loss, losing Jameis Winston, but. Just because, you know, anytime you lose your starting quarterback, it's always tough that transitional period is always tough because you have somebody that's having to come out there who hasn't gotten the bulk of the reps in practice and, you know, are having to, you know, asked to do a lot very quickly. So I'm going to give them a B-, just because, you know, that was a pretty impressive victory last week. But overall, I haven't been too impressed by what they did this year. But I think that they are still above average, so B-.
I like it. I'm gonna give them a B+ because they've surprised me. I don't want to say because he's injured. I did not have faith in Jameis before this season. He was slowly turning it around. I hope he recovers. A speedy recovery, speedy injury. He's actually one player that I like. I don't really want to see him injured. He's a good guy. He's humbled himself. He's kind of changed his kind of persona from what he was in college. And he had flashes of good QB play, which was nice to see. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to give him a B+. Also learning today, not a real shocker. Michael Thomas is going to be out for the rest of the year, had a setback in his rehab. Whatever that means. We'll see what happens. I would be shocked if the Saints get him back next year. I would, like Deshaun Watson, just cut ties, think of him as a Drew Brees receiver, and move on to either, you're going to need a starting quarterback. I mean, if it's going to be Jameis, move on to Jameis's receivers, Taysom Hill's receivers, or X name, first name, last name quarterback, insert name, right? Just cut ties and start fresh, give them a fresh receiving core that they can build around. It's now on Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill. We'll see what's going to happen. The defense, though, I think is going to be the only thing that keeps this team in playoff contention, because they are for real. That defense is for real. I don't see them beating the Bucs again, but who knows? Who knows? I would be hard pressed to think that the Tampa Bay Bucs aren't going to run the table and finish first in the division. But Sean Payton, I mean, we'll see how good a coach Sean Payton is, if he can pull this one off. That'd be pretty impressive, in my opinion. Our next team, we got the New York Giants. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, they played well against Kansas City on Monday night, and they've had some flashes, but I am going to give them a D. I don't think that they've had a really good year, and I think that there's a lot of improvements that they need to make, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah, I'm going D-, just because, this one's weird, because to be honest, we haven't even really seen the New York Giants. This team has been plagued with injuries week in and week out. It's always someone missing from the starting roster, whether it's a receiver, Saquon, Evan Ingram's out again, Danny Dimes has a concussion. I don't think we've actually seen a full game other than like maybe week 1 or week 2 with their full squad on the field. That's not gonna win you many games. However, the Giants last season somehow ran the table and won. I think it was like 5 of 6 or 4 of 6, getting themselves right in the playoff contention. Honestly, to me, is that good enough to salvage a year going on that little run? I almost don't want them to go on that run, because going on these little runs is what keep crappy coaches employed. Let's just be honest. These little runs at the end of the season that these players make, not the coaches, that these players make because they want to salvage their season, sometimes keeps coaches employed. And that's how you have a crappy team, because you salvage it. You're like, this coach isn't that bad. Let's give him one more year. Then you give him one more year. Same thing. He salvaged it. Let's give him one more year. What? Just one more. Just one more. No. Joe Judge is a shitty coach. Fire him. Hire somebody who can lead a freaking football team and get back to winning. This division is a joke. This division is a freaking joke. A joke. Fix it, please. The other team, another joke in the division. We got the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Philadelphia, they've had a really rough season as well. I'm going to give them a C-, based on very big victory for them on Sunday. I don't care who it's against. When you put up that kind of points and you hold the team to not scoring essentially at all.
Yep.
I kind of this weekend kind of changed some of these grades for me. New Orleans bumped them up a little bit just due to that win against the Buccaneers, and this is certainly another one where those are a couple examples of this week seemed like gave some teams momentum. So I will give them a C-. I think that they've had an okay season.
I'm right there with you. I'm going C- as well. I say it week after week. Jalen Hurts is not bad. This Eagles team is bad. In a shaky year for a first-time head coach and a first-time NFL starting quarterback, they're struggling. The Eagles are one of those teams that are struggling to find an identity. Who the hell are we, right? They have no idea who they are. And I also want people to look back. I want you to look back and remember this list, because there's one common theme amongst all the crappy teams out there. Well, most of them. I would say 90% of them. And it's this. These teams do not have a running game. I'm going to say it until you freaking mute the volume, because I've said it so many times. You have to have a running game in order to succeed in the NFL. It's a freaking joke that a brand new head coach, that me, a Joe Schmo from the freaking street, knows this, and someone who's getting paid millions of dollars just is okay not doing this. Hey, Nick Sirianni, you like being an NFL head coach? I'm sure it was your dream, buddy. Guess what? You're not going to be there much longer if you don't get a freaking running game. I don't care. I don't care that you don't like Miles Sanders. I don't care that you don't like Kenneth Gainwell. They are your running backs. Use them. Running the ball, getting 2 yards, getting 3 yards, getting a yard, it builds up. It builds up. And if you don't think so, that's why you're exactly where you guys are at, which is crap. Crap. So get a running game. Get a running game. The next team up, and this team is not part of that percentage. We got the San Francisco 49ers. What do you got for me?
Yeah, they just really have been underwhelming this year. I mean, we had great expectations for them. So, it's been a rough year, rough start. I'm hoping, like I said, the win over the weekend might help us, kind of help us find our identity a little bit. We got back to what you talked about, which was so important, was the running game. Yep. We got Elijah Mitchell going, and he was the FedEx Ground Player of the Week, so he put up a bunch of yards, and he's been impressive this year. And it just seems like everybody's so excited to go out there and block. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, he enjoys blocking. All of our tight ends are really good at blocking. Everybody wants to contribute to that running into the trenches. So, which is so important, because when you do that, you take a lot of pressure off of Jimmy.
Yep.
But back to the grade I'm going to give them is a D+. I think that I know it might be a little harsh, but we've really struggled this year, and until they make the improvements, I just have to say it how it is.
Okay. Bring in the hammer. Bring in the hammer. I like it. I like it. We've talked extensively about this team's struggles. I'm not going to be as cruel. I'm giving them a C. I'm going to give them a C this season. My main thing is this, and you and I have talked about this offline. The difference between preseason and regular season is eye-opening. Is completely eye-opening, right? Preseason, they looked like this three-headed monster that was going to destroy and run that division. Even with these good teams in it, they looked like they were going to outpace, be massively ahead of all these teams with this little, system that they set up essentially with these plays for both of the quarterbacks. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. I don't know if Kyle watched tape and was like, nah, forget it. We'll try it next season. I have no idea. So, they look like their old selves against Chicago. That was good to see, right? They're moving the ball up and down the field. Jimmy had a nice deep pass. They look good. It was a game where, anybody who was watching it could be proud, other than the fact that the secondary is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Horrible. And we talked about this. And we talked about this on Sunday. I told you. And you even know, besides Baby Palomalu, Ufunga, there is nobody on this team, nobody on this secondary that is worth keeping, right? Piss off, right? Oh, sorry, I've been watching too much Ted Lasso. Go find another team to go ruin them, right? You're ruining a decent team. It is horrible. It is horrible. But besides that, I'm going to give them a C. We'll see what happens in the second half. We'll see what happens. Their division rival. Next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks. What do you got for me?
Yeah, they're kind of in the same kind of category. I think that, they had a well-needed win over the weekend, because you got to win all of them that you can. I mean, you got it. Just getting even one win with your backup quarterback, compared to Russell Wilson, is so important. Yeah. Because Geno Smith isn't that good, so them to get that was a big one. I'm going to give them a D. I don't think they've been impressive at all this year. I think their defense is horrendous. I think that they don't have issues with just their secondary. They have issues with their offensive line, their defensive line. Yeah, this team is definitely, I don't think, going to the playoffs. So I'm going to give them a D.
Yeah, I got him as a D as well. There's not much to say about this team, so I'm not really surprised that you didn't have much to say about them. Definitely have not lived up to the expectations. Russ being out, right, for, a chunk of the season now, that's definitely played a role, right? And besides, overall, though, besides the offense, and by what I mean by offense is 3 players, that entire team is not very good. That entire team is not very good, and I don't see them going anywhere this season. So, yeah, I'm going D as well. Our next team up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you got for me?
Yeah, Tampa Bay, I'm going to give them an A-. I think that they've had a pretty overall solid season. I think that, losing to the Rams is one thing. I mean, and then losing to a divisional opponent, it's not like we got blindsided and they lost to anybody that we thought, I mean, those are 2 games that are very losable games for any team. Yeah, I think that they've had an overall a good season. I mean, I'm not going to give them a straight up A, but I will give them an A- because they're definitely in contention in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected anything less from the reigning Super Bowl champs. They look tough. Tom looks to be, better than ever, setting career highs this season. In the 50 years he's been in the NFL now. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It's almost a precursor to just assume that basically in the NFC Championship game, there's only 1 spot available. There's not 2, like most games, right? Most games have 2 spots available. No. NFC Championship looks to only have 1 spot available. So we'll see what happens. Because right now, who? So I'm curious to see it. I'm curious to see in a playoff situation who is going to take down this team. Because that'll be something. The Bucs look dangerous. Looking real dangerous. Our last team.
What was the grade you're giving them?
Huh?
What was the grade you're giving them?
My grade for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a B+. I'm going B+ for them. Solid start to the season. But again, nothing really anybody didn't expect from them. So that's why I'm going B+. They didn't really exceed my expectations. The last team. Now moving on to the last team. We got the nameless Washington football team. What do you got for me?
I got a D for you. Right there for you.
Yeah.
Put that right there on the platter for you. Heineke's okay, but yeah, this team, they don't have an identity too. This is another team where it's like, just blow it up. I mean, I don't know. You need a lot of things. You need a quarterback. I mean, he's okay, but I mean, you need a franchise quarterback. You need a better offensive line. You need a better defense. You need better special teams. I mean, they're struggling, so I'm just going to give them a D.
Did you steal my notes? Did you happen to steal my notes? I'm giving them a D+. Severely underachieving this year. Their biggest need is a quarterback. Would you peek at my notes? Am I sharing this on accident or something? Their biggest need is a quarterback. Washington needs a quarterback. Their defense is also underperforming. Who said that? Oh, you did. What is going on here? Honestly, it's not that they're underperforming. They just can't stay off the field long enough to catch their breath. That's what's going on. I like Taylor. Nice underdog story, but nor he or Fitzpatrick is the answer to the QB woes. And here's step one. And you mentioned a very good point. And I think you mentioned it without even realizing it. They are struggling to find an identity. Yeah, they're struggling. They don't even have a freaking name to their team. So yeah, they're struggling to find an identity.
They don't even have a name.
Yeah, you're damn right. They're struggling to find an identity.
Mess. I mean, it's a mess over there, in the Capitol. It is a mess.
I understand Washington's woes. We're the Washington football team. How the hell am I going to rally around that? Go football, woo! Right? No. They have weapons. They have a good defense. You just get a quarterback. Name your freaking team, and I promise you might see a slight change. Giving your team an identity. Just a crazy thought. And that is going to do it for our grades. But I do have 4 questions. Just 4 quick questions. We don't really need any analysis to these. They're just 4 easy questions. My first question for you, sir, is best first half. Let's go AFC first.
The best first half for the AFC?
Yep.
Oh man, that one's so tough. I'm gonna say the Bills.
Okay.
Just because I thought they've had a great season so far, and I can't really knock them at all.
NFC?
The Cardinals.
Okay, I like it. Now, let's go to most disappointing. Who has been the most disappointing in the first half? AFC.
Probably the Dolphins.
Okay, NFC?
The Niners.
And the best second half. Who do you think is going to have the best second half? AFC?
You know what? This one's taking me a little bit of time to kind of gather with this one, but I do expect the Bengals to have the best second half.
Oh, I like it. NFC?
I do. I'm gonna say the Cowboys.
And my last question for you is, who are you most interested in watching in the second half? AFC.
Probably the Niners.
Oh, I like it. And then the NFC.
Sorry, did you say NFC first or AFC first? You said NFC. So
Let's go
Niners,
AFC.
so
Let's go AFC. Then, yeah, most interested in watching in the AFC.
Probably the Raiders.
I like it. For myself, again, the apple does not fall far from the tree. Biggest first half, Bills Cardinals. Biggest disappointment, Dolphins 49ers. Best second half, I actually have the Colts and the Packers as the 2 teams who I think are going to have the best second half of the season. And then the 2 teams that I'm most interested to watch in the second half are the Raiders and the Vikings. I'm curious to see what happens with that Vikings team if they're able to actually salvage that season. And that is going to do it for our special presentation from all of us, which is only just 2 of us right now, at Fantasy Time. We hope you have enjoyed our mid-season grades. As always, thank you for watching, investing your time into our videos, into what we have to say. Brent, any final words for the people?
No, just enjoy the second half. If the second half of football is anything like the first, we're in for a really good treat. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing if there are some teams that can turn it around. The second half of the season is always the most crucial because you're fighting for that playoff spot. So I'm excited.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited too. I think the second half of the season is going to be really good. Be sure to tune in to Meet on the 50, dropping tomorrow like normal, right? We just had a very special presentation for you guys. We're going to be back dropping the knowledge and giving you all of our picks and analysis predictions for all the upcoming games this week. This has been another episode of Fantasy Time. Do not drink and drive. That is one of my best friends. I don't know which way I put him. I think I put him over on my left. He's over here. That is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. I am Jacob Cutler, the Fantasy Guy, and we will see you tomorrow.